Good morning, my fellow Africans and the world at large. This is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah once again coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Today is the 2nd of May in the year 2022, and the Bible says this is the day the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. And for that matter, I take this opportunity to invite the whole world, any man or woman listening to my voice, to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has given unto us and life in general, the gift of life that He has given unto mankind. Life is beautiful. Life is glorious. Life is wonderful. Life is something that we should be rejoicing and celebrating every day, every moment, every hour, for it is a gift from God to mankind. Today, I am going to speak to you on the topic, God will provide the food, but He will not cook the dinner. God will provide the food, but He will not cook the dinner. And on this, I would like to give credit to one of my mentors, and his name is Thomas Troward. He's a British spiritual teacher, and he actually coined this word, or he gave these words, which are very important and speaks direct to every human being's life. We are here on earth, and God has planted us in the midst of abundance. God has planted us in the midst of prosperity, but these things will not be a reality in our life because God has done His part. We have to take or do our part to make it a reality. And so, if you look at our lives, even with common things that we do, so long as you keep on sitting down that you are hungry and you don't take an action to prepare food, you will starve yourself and die. Even when the food is prepared for you, and even if you have servants or people you call servants or whatever, for them to take the food and put it in your mouth, if you don't take the action to chew and swallow it, you will starve and kill yourself. And this also comes to tell us that in our lives, there is that element of action, which is in direct alignment with the universal law of action. Every human being is by law expected to take action to make things happen in his life. Without the action, you condemn yourself to poverty, lack, and misery. But if you take the right action with the right mental attitude and with the right motive, you create a beautiful and a wonderful life. There is a difference between movement and that of calculated attempt or calculated action to get something done. The animals and other things, their movement, they go about, or they use what we call movement. There is no intellectual calculation behind what the animal does. All that they do is to move by use of force. There is no reasoning behind that. That is different. So any man that believes in only outside force, but without combining it with his mental ability, without putting a thought behind, is more or less working like the beasts, the animal. And with that one, it doesn't bring any riches. It brings poverty. Anyway, so we will come to that. But for now, I'm going to continue with my presentation by taking you to the book of Genesis. We're going to see how God has already given us everything that we need. And for that matter, there is no need for us to be praying to God for blessings. God has already blessed you, blessed me, blessed everything, blessed everyone. And it is our responsibility to make the blessings of God a reality in our lives. So if you read the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 28 to 31, you will see what I'm talking about. So beginning from 28, I read, "And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made. And behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. So this is from the creation story. God created all the things that he planned to create as a preparation towards the arrival of the king, man or woman, for his enjoyment. And that is why it is biblical and universally a spiritual truth that a human being is God. God made preparation for himself and after everything has come together, he individualized himself into you and I. But the Bible pictured this thing by using Adam and Eve as the key characters to present this truth to us. So God, after God has done everything, he brought the man and he gave them the right to have control, to have dominion over everything. We have the right to eat anything that we want to eat. We have the right to use anything that we want to use on the earth. And so you will see that God didn't say that sit down and all these things will come to you that, hey, we have realized that you need us, therefore use us. God never said that. But God says that have dominion, subdue the earth. That is the command, that subdue it. Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. And if you look at mankind's destiny, especially those of us in third world countries or third world nations or Africa, it appears that we only heeded to the be fruitful part of this command, but the subduing of the land, of the earth, we haven't been able to do it properly. And we will come to that. So you will see that God has given mankind everything. The blessings that we are praying for, anything that mankind is praying for is right within us, around us, and above us. God has endowed us with everything that we need, because God knew very well that these are the things that we need to make our life a better one. But there is another condition, and that is in alignment with the universal law of action, that it is our responsibility to take action to make these things a reality. And that is why God didn't tell Adam and Eve that, hey, sit down, and when it is time that you need to eat this and that, the things will put themselves together and come and present themselves before you for you to eat. No, but God said that use them as food. And therefore, there is that element of action to take these ingredients or whatever we have and combine them to make food. So that is the meaning, or that is the essence of of our title or of our topic today, that God will provide the food, but he will not come down to cook the dinner. Everything that human being or mankind needs is right with us here. But God has already given all these things to us, but he will not come down to make it for us. It is our responsibility to use the greatest asset that God has given to us, and that is our mind, to turn all these things into usable goods based on our current needs. Based on our current needs and human level of evolution. And if we look into history, it is the human being that has moved, that has controlled. We have moved ourselves, raising ourselves from the lower to the higher, from the lower to the higher, from the lower to the higher. And it is all by by obeying the law of action. the universal law of action. So without the action, whatever blessings that God has given to us will not be a reality. Without the action. And what kind of action do we need to take? Because if you look at Africa or third world countries, we will always say that we are doing the most difficult difficult jobs. We are working with all our strength, but we are getting poorer and poorer. Why? If that is the case, then it means why are we not getting from our effort? And that is what we are coming to look at. God has blessed us, but the blessings will only be you will be able to realize or to bring the blessings into your life to make them a reality based on how you will use your mind. Based on how you will use your mind. So when we talk of action in the mind is the key, but not action in the physical. All the animals are using physique. They are using brutal force. And therefore they do work, and there is no quality in it. There is nothing that brings prosperity. But as a human being with intelligence, we are able to control them, to use them to get that we want. And in the same way, we are human beings. God has given us strength and intellect or intelligence. But if we are unable to use our intelligence, then someone will use his intelligence to control you. And it comes that way. It is the person that becomes rich and you become poorer because you have deserted the use of your greatest asset, which is the mind, intelligence. God has given every human being intelligence. And the level at which you are using your intelligence determines how good your products are, how good your life are, how blessed you will be. It is a universal fact. It is a universal truth. And so I will take you to the book of Proverbs. And if we go to Proverbs 10 verse 4, according to this verse, it says, "A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich." I repeat, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. That is from Proverbs 10:4. And then we will go down to Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13, verses 10 again. And over here, we are told that the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. That is Proverbs 13:4. Sorry, I said 10. It's Proverbs 13:4. That the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. So if you look at these two verses, on the surface, it makes sense. Yes, in our society, whenever we find ourselves, there are people who are actually using their strength. They are doing everything, and they get a certain measure of success. And there are some who are not doing anything. They also get nothing. That is true. But if you go down to the deeper meaning, as I said in one of my episodes, the Bible has levels of meaning. There are deeper meaning of whatever thing that is used in the Bible. The Bible uses symbols. And when we understand the meaning of the symbols that are used in the Bible, then we are able to get the real meaning and get the real benefit from the Bible. So over here, with the first verse, Proverbs 10 verse 4, the hand, as it is used, is not your physical hand. It is your mind. Whether you believe it or not, no human being can lift his hand without the mind commanding it. No human being can lift his leg or do whatever without his mind commanding it. So when you talk of laziness, laziness is not in the lifting of objects, but laziness, the principal laziness is the laziness in the mind. People who are not able to use their mind at the highest level are the laziest people on earth. Regardless of how you are lifting on the altar, you are just working like the donkey, the elephant, whatever. because you are not combining your strength with your intelligence. And the intelligence is God himself. That means you are taking God out of the equation. So the slack hand is simply the slack mind, the mind that is dead to thinking. The mind that is dead to high-level thinking causes what? Poverty. But the hand of the diligent, the one that uses his mind at the highest level, he sits down and think about things, and those things becomes a reality in his life. These are the people that we talk of. They make riches. And so if you compare ourselves, take Africa and take the developed world, whilst we talk of physical strength, whilst we talk of raw materials that we are selling to them, just going into the forest, just going to places to pick them and sell them to people, we don't get anything. We get poorer. And those who take these items and go and turn them into higher goods by using their intelligence, they get richer. And that is what this verse means. So there is the need for us to come to the realization that God has provided us everything. All the things that we need to prepare the food of our life, to make our life a better one, is right with us, around us, behind us, in front of us, beside us. But this will not bring any blessings to us. This will not bring any improvement in our life until we combine the intelligence aspect to make it a reality and make good and make usable high-level goods that any man or woman will take and feel proud for being proud of using it, and will feel satisfied that this is a high-quality product. Our lives, our physical environment will always reflect how we are using our intelligence to make beauty things around us. So the slack hand, as used in Proverbs, is about your mind. Your actual hand is in your mind. Your physical body is a servant of the mind. Whatever your hand will do, it's not the hand that is doing it, but it is your mind, someone in you that is commanding the hand. Just as when you sit in your car, if you are in your car, you give command to the car. The car only responds to what you are saying. You don't do anything. You tell the car to stop, it stops. You tell the car to move, it moves. You tell you want the fan, you put it on, it comes to you. It blows over you. Yeah, that is how our life is. That is it. There is someone in us. And so long as we fail to use that person or that entity in us at the highest level that he is supposed to be, we create discord. And therefore our life will become sour. Our life will become a poor and undeveloped. And then we go on to the verse 13, chapter 13, verse 4. It says, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. In the same way, who is the sluggard? The sluggard is the one who is not thinking, who is not using his mind at an advanced level to improve his life. So the person sits down, he craves for things. We wish we have these things. We wish we have this, that. We wish we have that. But he gets nothing. But the diligent, gets nothing. While the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. So you see that those who are using their minds, they sit down, they create one machine, and the machine does job that 100 people would do. Someone sits down to use his mind, he creates one implement, and it takes out human element. It does the work efficiently, and productivity increase. Then they become richer. And so that is what the Bible is saying. And so you see that Africans, our soul is craving. We crave for all these things, but we are not. We are not being supplied because we are not using our intelligence. So long as we are not ready to create, so long as we are not able to create our own goods, our implements, our tools to make these things a reality, we will continue to be poor. We are blessed. Africa is blessed with almost everything. And even not only Africa, if you look at all developing countries, all the nations, all the countries or the people that depends on natural resources are blessed beyond other. But the fact is that we are not the only people that have these natural resources. Come to North America, they have abundance of natural resources. Go to Europe, they have abundance of equal natural resources. But the fact is that they have combined the intelligent aspects. They took action. They obey the law of action. And for that matter, everything that they have becomes a blessing to them. They turn the blessings of God from the natural state into whatever they want it to be. But we haven't been able to do that. And since nature abhors a vacuum, they have to come from all their places and use ours too. And then we will become slaves. We will do the donkey work, and they will take it and sell it back to us. So let us be mindful. Let us come to the truth that the soul of the sluggard craves. The fact that we need this and that doesn't mean that we are going to get it. The fact that we are poor, people are dying, people are hungry or whatever, doesn't mean that we're going to get it. But if only we will turn ourselves into people who are diligent in thinking, then all that we need will be supplied to us. It is not be supplied to us by our fellow human being, but it will supply to us through ourselves. That is God himself providing all this to us through us. And that is why we say we are co-creators with God. So God has provided everything that we need. The food is already with us, but it is our responsibility to create the dinner. It is our responsibility to create a dinner. Take Africa, for instance. And if I always use Ghana, because that is where I know most, but other African countries too is the same. Ghana, when we were young, we were taught this what we call patriotic songs. And one of them is, we have cocoa in Ghana, we have diamond in Ghana, we have bauxite in Ghana, we have this in Ghana. And that was the songs we used to sing. But they never taught us how to use our mind to make these things usable commodities. So African, Ghanaian young men and women grows up, and the only thing they think or they boast of is that we have all these things, but it doesn't come to their mind, how can I take this and turn it into this? So now if you go to Ghana, what we have is called galamsey. Young men and women are destroying their vegetation, looking for gold to sell. They are not thinking of how to, create a simple tool that can even help them to do this efficiently. And such people are those that the proverb is calling sluggard. It's referring to a sluggard. They will suffer, but nothing will come to them. They get the money, but the money doesn't. It's not. They don't even enjoy it. Why? Because we are not doing things from the right perspective. We talk of we having timber. We have all this timber, but since it dawned on us, or the white people came to show us that timber, there is something that we can use our trees and whatever as timber. No African, no Ghanaian or any African producing timber has been able to produce even a simple dormer machine to use to cut the timber. Whenever we want to cut the timber, we have to go to people who have used their mind to create these machines to come and use it. So you realize that the amount for the equipment that is used to extract the raw materials is there. And then the actual amount for the labor, everything that they do comes with money. And we only get a fraction of it. Yet we are daydreaming that we have all these things. Yes, God has provided us all these things as food. But it is our responsibility to create or to make a dinner out of it. We can turn Africa into a paradise if we will devalue our consciousness of our resources and then increase our consciousness of how to create real things, how to improve quality in our life, quality in our things. All our natural resources will become meaningful to us than what we are seeing. Go to anywhere. And as a matter of fact, sometimes people tend to argue that the Europeans came to, still, they came to exploit us. But the fact that we have to be awakened to is that without the appearance of the Europeans on the African soil, most of the things that we call natural resources would have been buried in the ground that we don't even know what they are used for. Even up till now, there are tons of natural resources buried in our lands, but the African has no idea about what these things are used for. One day, it is the white people or the Chinese that will come and then tell us that this is what is used for. And that is when we become awakened with. And it is a sign of people who are not using their mind. These are the sluggard that the book of Proverbs is talking of. And they don't have the concept. The African people don't have the concept that God has provided us all the food that we need. But it is our responsibility to cook, to prepare the dinner. And for that matter, we are selling the food. And then we use the money that we have to buy the dinner that someone has prepared. This is organizing your life in a very negative way. It's just the unenlightened that goes this way. So now we have to become enlightened. We have to become awakened to the truth that every blessings that we are praying for in our churches, in our books, in our whatever, is already with us here now. Because when God created everything, he took a look at it and he convinced himself. Is that God saw that everything that he had done was good. And so he was satisfied with it. And that was how he closed off the creation before he came to create mankind. In the same way, God has given us everything that is perfect, but he also put in the equation of action in the mind. When you read the Bible and they talk of slagger, they talk of hand, they talk of all these things, it is not your physical hand, it is your level of thinking. There is no way that any person that thinks higher will be poorer and the one that only uses his physical hands will be richer. There is no way that this will happen. That is not the arrangement of things in the universe. We are spiritual and mental beings, and we have intelligence. It is our intelligence that makes us rich. It is our intelligence that makes us develop. It is our intelligence that makes us greater and bigger. And if we are not using our intelligence and we are only dependent on our physical strength, then we are more or less like the animals. If we are not able to turn our raw materials into goods, great and powerful goods, and exchange them with other people, then we are just like the elephant, those animals in the forest, that they sleep amongst the timber, they sleep among all the things that we do, but they don't know the use of it. Some of the rodents even bore their holes and they sleep in the midst of gold, but they don't know the use of it. The only comfort they get is it protects them. And that is Africans. The only comfort we get is that we are able to sell them for food, but we are not able to get a satisfaction of you sitting down and look at this and say, yes, putting your hand on your chest and say, yes, this is what the son of Africa, the daughter of Africa, I have created and I am very satisfied with. We don't have that. We haven't been able to do that. So the preparation of the dinner aspect is critical. And that is based on the universal law of action. Action is needed right now in our setup. Young men and women, rise up. There is power in you. God has given you everything that you need. Everything that you need is surrounded you. But it is only for you to raise your intelligence level. It's only for you to be conscious of the fact that raw materials are nothing. Raw materials don't make us rich. Raw materials and all this don't make us great. But they are only tools that we are to combine with our intelligence. And then when we create the final product, it is the final product that makes you rich and great. So busy your mind. Instead of going to do galamsey work for quick money, use your mind to think of how you can even buy the gold and turn it into something beautiful as the African made. That is the truth of life. Instead of we sitting down, just talking about we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. Let us think of how we can create it, even with a mind that we don't have the resources, but we have how we want to create in our mind. And wherever the resources are, they will come to us. And that is why other people have done. That is why they find themselves on our land. That is what the book of Proverbs is saying. The son of the sluggard craves and gets nothing. And that is Africans. We are craving for everything. When young men and women from other parts come to sit in front of our leaders, a king, then he will speak and beg them that we need development. We need that. We need that. We are craving for development, but we get nothing because we are not using our intelligence. The law of action, the action part, which is the mental action, we are not using. We are not complying. And so it is poverty and lack. Underdevelopment is what we are seeing. That is the truth. That is the truth. And so this is the time for the African to rise up. This is the time this is the time of enlightenment, exposing our young men and women, our children, to the realities of truth, the realities of life, the truth that sets us free from all this bondage. Care not about the resources, but care about what you can conceive. And whatever a mind conceive and believe to be true, it will come to pass. Our leaders must learn how to talk without mentioning resources. Our leaders must begin to think of ideas that we can create by using our minds and our resources. And when these things are put together, we become the diligent ones. Believe it or not, the outer conditions of any group of people is directly linked to the inner state. What are we thinking? The African only knows how to sit down and lust after other people's things. Our leaders always want to come to the developed world, sleep and enjoy in the big hotels, go to places that they will take pictures and take back home and show to their people. But they don't have the ability to think of how we can create all these things. And all that we can do is to beg. That is the sluggard. That is the hand of the slack. That is the one who is slack, who is lacking is dead in mind. These are hard truths that we have to come to terms with. The truth is very painful, but it must be acknowledged. The truth is very painful, it must be acknowledged. And if I'm to bring some of the stories that sometimes you hear, I read, it's sometimes you ask yourself, yes, we are responsible, or you acknowledge that we are responsible for our woes. And it is because of how our forefathers actually determined our life. I read a story about how the South African diamond fields. How the South African diamond fields was discovered. And it sends shock waves into your system. But that is the truth. And it comes directly to what I am discussing with you. The African never interacted with nature. Everything that we saw, we sat down and looked at them. And sometimes we say, oh, this is the work of the gods. And so we never interacted with nature. When other people are actually examining, studying the rocks and other things to see how they can make things out of it, we were dead to it. So you see that there is nothing that an African has been able to extract from all these things around us. Yeah, so coming to the South African diamond fields, I read it from a book, and it was stated that there was this white man who was on a trek across the country, then South Africa. Yeah, so this man got to a point with the hot sun. He was tired in the evening, so he sat behind one of the locals' hut, taking his smoke of tobacco, and then under that evening, how the sun is setting, and children came out, they were playing, and these children were playing with some kind of stones, pebbles. And the white man looked at these stones. Then something touched him that these stones are dull, but I don't think they are normal stones. Even he didn't even know what they were. But within him, there was that kind of feeling that these stones may be something different from what we all know. And so he approached the owner of the hut and said, I saw your children playing with these kind of stones. Can I have a few of them so that I will go and give them to my children for them to also play with? And then the man said, oh, these are stones. We don't need them for anything. And he told this white man, wait. He went into the room. The children have packed, they've collected the stones into bags. He brought a bag and gave it to the white man that we don't need it. The children are even disturbing with this thing. It's too much. Take this and go and give it to your children. The white man said, okay, for your kind heart, I am going to give you something too. So he looked into his bag and gave him 2 bundles of tobacco. The man said, the black man, the South African said, no, I am not going to take it. If I take what you are giving to me, that means I am robbing you. Because these stones have no value. So take it. Why do I have to take your tobacco because of these stones? But since you are insisting, I will take it. So he took the tobacco and the man took the bags of stones. And this man went and took these things for study. And that became the discovery of the South African diamond fields. And this story tells you how these two people, we allow ourselves for God to work through us. The African never from our forefathers, we never studied these things to see whether we can use them for other things. All that we could do was to use them for whatever simple things. But by then, the white people already knew what diamond was. They knew what all these things, these minerals were. So as soon as he saw it, he knew that there was a value in it. So the fact that this man and his children and even the area, they have lived among this diamond rich, they've lived within this diamond rich land, they never benefited from it. So if it is hard work, as the prophet is saying, they were already doing hard work. They should have been blessed. But that is not how it works. Someone took it and used his mind to analyze it. And by analyzing it, he knew that it was diamond. The man became rich. And then the area became an area of diamond. And that is how we are robbing ourselves. And this story, you will have similar of this across Africa. Our forefathers used to take them around and show them this. Oh, we don't have this. We don't need this. We don't need this. And these people, they knew what they were looking for. So they took it and you make good use of it. They didn't rob us. It is a gift from the universe. For nature abhors vacuum. Raw materials have to be used. God gave them to us for us to use them to better ourselves. Just that we have the ingredients that we use to make dinner. He has given them to us. But since we are unable to use that, we are unable to use our mind to do that, some people have to come and take it. And that is how our minds were opened. Without the arrival of all these people on our land, every natural resources that we call them valuable today would have been of no value to the African, because we, even up till now, we haven't been able to study whatever we have. And that is the truth. And that is a sign of people who are lazy. The slug, as used in the Bible, the sluggard. And our soul is craving. Now we are craving for everything. We crave for cars. We crave for hospitals. We crave for this. We crave for this. But we don't get it because we don't have the ability. We are not using our minds. We can go and beg. They will come and put it's just one year, 2 year, 2 year. Then within a couple of years, everything collapsed because we are gods. And God has endowed us with intelligence. And so long as we are not using our intelligence to make things work in our life, we have to. It is a reset. However, we push ourselves on the physical, because it is the inside that dictates. It will reset back to what it is inside. So until we continue, we begin to change the inside, and that is our mindset, our perspective, and begin to know that there is the universal law of action. And that law of action is about the use of the mind. We will continue to be in this situation where we sleep amongst the raw materials, just like the rodents. And then the human beings, some people come and take it and go and use it and make high-level commodities and come and sell them to us. The mind is the key. The other day I said it in one of my episodes, and I will still repeat it. Formal education is not the key in the African situation now. But what is the key is mindset. We have the education. We have the educated people. Who are they? They are only educated derelicts. But when we bring in the mindset and we begin to walk in a certain way, that we are made in the image and the likeness of God, and that every blessing that we have here, we need is already here. We are not more praying, but we are taking our power, that God that is in us, to mix everything that we have to make the dinner, and that is to create what we want. We will not go forward. This is the time for us to come to the realization that we have everything that we have. Money, everything that we need, we have it here. We have it on our lands. The only thing that is missing is the right mindset, the right attitude, and the ability to use our minds at the highest level, intelligence. That is what needed. And that is where we need to train our children. We need to direct our children too. But not all that we are hearing. You see Africans talking of taking their children to the best schools in Britain, and that. The end of the story is that they will go to these schools and come back, and they'll be the same as their fathers. They'll be the same as their parents who have lived and can only talk about history. They can only talk about what they have done, places that they've visited, but they have nothing to show. They have nothing that humanity can remember them of. And this is the time we have to change it. This is the time that the African has to change it. God has already given us the food. And as if you read the book of Genesis, as we saw, God has given us everything, the food and everything that we need. And he said we should subdue the land. To subdue the land is to use your mind to create a machine and go down to extract your own oil, but not to ask for someone to come and do it. To subdue your mind is to use your mind. To subdue the land is to use your mind to create a technology that will go down into the belly of the ground to bring you gold, but not our young men and women destroying our vegetation, destroying our land. And these people, Africans, are living without the concept of posterity. What will the future generation talk of us? If you look at what is happening, I saw some of the rivers that I knew in Ghana. And if you see the pictures, it is very disheartening. And you ask yourself, do we have people living amongst us? Yes, we are living, but we are more or less like this animal who doesn't know how the need for preservation, the need for conservation. And therefore, we are only living for our belly. We are only living looking at it from the outer, but not from the inner. And that is where we find ourselves. God has blessed us. But so long as we continue to depend on other things without using our intelligence, we will not see the blessings in our life. And that is the meaning of our topic today. And thanks to Judge Strobel, God bless him for giving us these words, that God will give us the food, but he will not come down to prepare the dinner. So let us wake up, my fellow Africans, leaders or chiefs or whatever, young men and women. Let us come to the realization, come to the truth that without action in the mind, we are doomed forever. And this is the real independence that we have to seek. The independence to liberate the quest to liberate the African mind. That's the true independence. When the African mind, an African can get up and think of something and do it and bring it to the world to improve our lives and that of the world in general. And that is the message for today. It is my prayer and it is my desire that your mind will be open, particularly the young Africans, young men and women. There is no need to travel to anywhere. There is no need doing all the things that you're doing. All that you have to do is to use your mind at the highest level. Wherever you are, you will create the most wonderful product, and it will be shown on the world stage. And until we are able to use our resources, combine our minds and our resources to create high-level things that we will be able to match them up with other things on the world stage, we will remain the people who are sluggard and only craving. Their soul is craving that they do not get. Now may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars in the open without falling on us and keeps the planets in their orbit without clashing with each other, give you an open-minded heart and a desire and determination to begin to begin your journey of self-determination and self-determination and liberation, such that you open your mind, you liberate yourself, and every one of us will liberate ourselves, such that we'll be the masters of our lives. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah. I am the co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At Eagle Mentality Group, our determination and our drive is to expose our fellow Africans to this higher truth. We speak to the whole world, but our focus is on our fellow Africans, such that we will raise a new group of Africans that think in alignment, think and do things in alignment with the universal law, that we create heaven on earth, on Africa, where we have everything that we need in its modernized form, and we have all people from all walks of life coming to live amongst us on the African continent, that we have diversity. As it is only black people who live on the African continent, and that is not how it is supposed to be. It is our desire, and we know it is already done. For when the carnal man says it cannot be done, the man with vivid imagination and faith declares it is already done. Thank you, and God bless you.